Welcome, dear traveller. Tonight, let us gently drift back to a time when the wind howled across the open plains, when frost clung to wooden cabins like crystal lace, and when survival meant more than just making it through the day. It meant making it through the night. Close your eyes, breathe in deeply, and exhale slowly. Let the weight of the day melt from your shoulders. You're safe here. You're warm. You are wrapped in a blanket of time. Now, imagine the flicker of firelight, the creak of wooden floorboards, and the distant echo of wolves howling in the snowbound distance. We're heading into the rugged frontier, the old American West, where men, women, and children braved some of the harshest winters imaginable, and somehow kept going. Let us begin. The cold frontier, nature's unforgiving challenge. The Wild West was vast. Mountains pierced the sky. Deserts lay frozen at night, and the Great Plains stretched endlessly under snow-filled skies. Winter didn't knock politely. It crashed in with biting winds, blizzards, and below-zero temperatures. Snow piled high, trapping settlers in their homes. Water buckets froze solid. Bread bait days ago turned rock hard. For early pioneers, winter wasn't an inconvenience. It was a test of will every single day. In places like Montana, Wyoming, and the Dakotas, temperatures dropped to -40, sometimes colder. There were no thermostats, no central heating systems. Instead, people relied on thick quilts, wood-burning stoves, and body heat. Settlers prepared all autumn. They chopped cords of wood, stacked high against the house. They dried meats, pickled vegetables, and stored root crops in cellars carved into the frozen earth. Still, it wasn't always enough. Imagine a sod house on the prairie. Its walls are made of dirt and grass. Insulated, yes, but far from cozy. Inside, a mother wraps her children in layers of wool and linen. A single fire sputters in the stove. They sleep close together, like puppies in a den, because if the fire goes out, they could freeze, staying warm, layer by layer. Now, let's slip into their boots. Literally, frontier folk layered everything. Woolen underclothes, thick socks, flannel shirts, heavy trousers, and coats made of buffalo hide or deer skin. Mittens were made of fur. Scarves were hand-knit. Hats were never taken off indoors because every bit of heat mattered. Blankets. They weren't just for beds. They were worn as cloaks, wrapped around shoulders, pinned with brooches. Cowboys slept under woolen saddle blankets beside their horses, sometimes burying themselves in the snow itself for insulation. Yes, snow. It could trap heat like a winter cave. On stormy nights, families huddled together. Sometimes entire households shared one bed, tucked beneath layers of quilts made by hand. Children in the middle, parents at the edges, dogs and cats curled at their feet. The body's warmth was precious, and so was the fire. Fires that never went out. A fire was never allowed to die in the winter. Before going to bed, someone would bank the fire. That meant piling ashes over the glowing coals to keep them smouldering overnight. In the morning, those coals were uncovered and fed with kindling until the flames leaped once again. If the fire died completely, restarting it could be difficult. Matches were rare and costly. Flint and steel took time and skill. So most families kept coals alive, every night, every day, throughout the season. Out on the range, cowboys relied on small campfires, often just enough to heat beans and boil coffee. In bitter cold, they'd keep their boots near the fire to prevent them from freezing stiff. But fire was more than heat. It was light. It was hope. It was life. Building for survival. Homes in harsh climates. Let's look at their homes. Log cabins were common. Thick logs insulated well against the cold. Cracks were stuffed with moss, mud, or animal hair, anything to keep out the wind. Some settlers built sod houses, literally homes made from chunks of prairie earth. The walls were thick and held heat better than wood. In mining towns, where saloons stood beside general stores, winters meant bunking together in close quarters. Sometimes 6 men might share one room, just for warmth. Windows were covered with oiled paper instead of glass, and doors were hung with heavy curtains on the inside. The key was to trap every bit of warmth and never let it go. Food, fat, and fuel for the body, keeping warm, wasn't just about fire and blankets. It was also about fueling the body. Settlers ate rich, fatty foods in winter. Lard, butter, dried meats, beans, and cornbread filled their bellies. Fat burned slowly and kept people warmer longer. Meals were hot, hearty, and simple. Soup was always simmering, bones boiled for hours with root vegetables and herbs. It wasn't just food, it was medicine. Coffee was a staple, sometimes made from roasted barley or chicory when beans ran out. Whiskey and brandy were sipped not just for cheer, but to warm the blood, or so they believed. And water. It had to be heated. You couldn't drink from a frozen well. You had to melt snow over a fire, slowly, carefully, like waiting for spring. When winter turned deadly, but not everyone survived. There were winters when snow buried entire towns. The winter of 1886 was especially brutal. It was called the Big Die-Up. Temperatures dropped to 50 below zero. Cattle froze standing up. Ranchers went bankrupt. Families starved. Diseases like pneumonia and influenza took many. Frostbite claimed fingers, toes, even lives. Children caught outside during a sudden blizzard were sometimes lost in whiteouts, their footprints buried in minutes. Still, people endured. They learned to listen to the wind, to read the clouds, to trust the instinct that said, "Stay indoors, don't risk it." They told stories beside the fire, played fiddle tunes, recited Bible verses, sang old songs passed down from homelands far away. Winter was cruel, but it also brought families together. The strength in stillness. Now, as you rest here in your own warm bed, imagine the silence of a snowbound night in the Wild West. No traffic, no phones, just the creak of the house settling, the hiss of wind at the corners, the rhythmic breathing of your loved ones nearby. Stillness. Settlers learned to appreciate it, to slow down, to reflect, to survive by being still. Closing, gentle farewell. And so, dear listener, as the snow falls gently in your imagination, as the cabin glows with firelight, and the old world drifts softly into the quiet night, know that you are not alone. You are resting in a tradition shared by millions before you, of slowing down, of surviving cold seasons both around us and within us. You are warm. You are safe. You are home. Good night, and sweet dreams from the wild, wild West.